way too quiet.
It's way too quiet. What the frick is that? Woo!
Strange footprints outside a tent, a shelter collapsing in a mountain storm, vehicles disappearing through ice without warning. These camping encounters prove that a normal trip can turn dangerous in seconds, but which warning would you take seriously first? The first video comes from Paranormal Discovery, a channel focused on paranormal investigations and strange encounters. The footage was uploaded on December 21st, 2025, and follows a solo camper returning to the Deadlands with his dog Kia near the same area where he says strange things had happened before. While he is setting up camp, a vehicle drives through the area, circles around, and then leaves.
Looks like someone's coming. Good girl, you stay. It's okay, baby. It's okay. They may be coming through.
He notices it, but continues preparing the campsite. Even at this early point, he already seems uncomfortable with the location. Later, while inside the tent, he begins hearing sounds from outside. Around the same time, the spirit app he is using produces several disturbing responses. The situation becomes more uncomfortable.
They never found me.
So weird. I'm telling you, this spot is weird.
We can throw something.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
The shadows know your name.
What the hell?
Believe us.
What the?
I'm happy.
You know my name. Can you say my name then? Can you say my name?
You're being followed.
What? This makes so much
I'm walking
sense.
around you.
Were you the one?
pit.
Were you following me? The pit? That was kind of weird because earlier
Rosemary.
earlier I was like setting up the tent. I'm like, we're in like a pit right now. And I'm like, it's like a pit. And it just said the pit. It's crazy, man.
Guidance. Manipulation. Earl. Don't leave yet.
When he asks whether something there could hurt him, the app gives a yes response.
If I were to stay another 2 hours, 3 hours, are you gonna hurt me?
Guillotine. Yes.
Holy shit. I just heard something out there. It was like a bigger, like...
Great. Sorry. Safety.
This is weird.
We have power.
A little later, the app produces the words Mr. Baker. This immediately surprises him because he says he had been listening to a song connected to those words during the drive to the campsite.
I feel like here's
I'm from the 1400s.
such an active spot. Indigenous.
Mr. Baker.
Okay.
Friendship.
Okay. Mr. Baker. No joke. I was listening to Boney M. Gold, Mr. Baker. That is messed up. It was in the car with me then. Like, I'm not even talking about anything paranormal right now. I'm talking about like the song I was actually listening to on the way in here.
He begins wondering whether the timing is simply a coincidence or whether there's some other explanation. The strange activity continues when he hears what sounds like people or movement near the woods. He steps outside to check, but cannot clearly see anyone. A voice or shout appears to come from somewhere in the distance.
Came from this way though. Like in the woods there. Or on the way out. Hello? Hello? The fact that it's like empty with real people, like it almost felt like someone, like a real person was out here.
At this point, he begins questioning what is actually happening around the campsite. It could be another person in the area, something caused by the surroundings, or something he cannot clearly identify.
Oh shit. It would have been directly right here, in this vicinity. Like, I'm being serious, guys. What the f? Holy shit. Okay, so there's someone ripping down. They just yelled F me. They literally just yelled fuck you. What the hell? I think someone like came and was like messing with me. Well, if they said that, then they can go and fuck themselves, to be honest.
After another loud disturbance, he quickly goes outside again. Near the tent, he notices what appear to be human tracks.
Oh. I'm going. What the fuck? I'm going out. Only got one hand, so. Okay. There's tracks here. Human tracks. Where do they lead to? Man, they look confused. They literally walked up and then went this way.
The tracks seem to move through the campsite, but he cannot find anyone nearby. With no person in sight, he's left unsure of when the tracks were made or who left them. Hours later, another strange discovery makes the situation even more serious. When he tries to take Kia outside,
What the? Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
he finds a tree lying directly in front of the tent entrance. He believes someone or something may have moved it there while he was sleeping, but the video does not confirm how the tree reached that position. Kia also refuses to leave the tent. The camper sees her behavior as another warning and becomes more cautious about going outside. Dogs can notice sounds and smells that humans may not immediately detect. However, a dog's reaction by itself cannot tell us what caused the behavior, so Kia's refusal to leave the tent does not prove that anything unusual was nearby. While checking the area, the camper trips over a log and badly rolls his ankle.
Come on. Oh, shit. Whoa. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. I just rolled my ankle. Oh, come on. Son of a bitch. Something's out there. Hello?
After the injury, he stops investigating and decides that the situation has become too risky for him to remain there any longer. There may be normal explanations for the tracks, the distant voice, and the tree near the tent. But when all of these things happen during the same trip, would you keep looking for answers or decide that it is time to leave? Not every dangerous night in the wilderness comes from something unexplained. For Luke, the threat was a powerful blizzard that could quickly cut off his way home. The next video comes from Outdoor Boys, a channel known for camping, hiking, and outdoor adventures in difficult environments. The footage was uploaded on March 11th, 2023, and follows Luke as he camps alone in a remote forest in Alaska while a blizzard is moving into the area. Luke is experienced with rough terrain and extreme weather, so he begins the trip by preparing his campsite. Surrounded by snow-covered trees, he sets up a hot tent and a small stove using only the equipment he brought with him. He clears a flat place for the tent, collects frozen firewood, and works to get the stove burning.
It is wet and cold, so we're going to put it around the stove to dry it out before we throw it in. I'm going to string up a little clothesline to start drying my gloves out. I brought a little luxury item here. Melting snow is such a pain. It'll probably take me 45 minutes to get this snow melted and up to a boil. All right, we got the water boiling. It's time to make some food. Got some beef bouillon cubes, a little bit of salt. I got these little lamb T-bones here, and they're already seasoned. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the bone out, cut off the grizzle, put that in the pot first. I'm gonna have some herbal tea here.
As night falls, he makes herbal tea and cooks lamb T-bones before settling down to rest. At first, everything around the campsite seems calm. But during the night, the storm grows much stronger. Heavy snow begins building up around the tent while strong wind moves through the trees overhead. By morning, Luke can see that conditions are getting worse. The snow has become deeper, visibility has dropped, and the route back is becoming harder to follow. Luke decides that it is time to leave before the storm makes the journey even more difficult. He puts on his snowshoes and carefully moves through the forest toward his vehicle.
Tired, so I'm going to hit the sack, and we're going to see what this blizzard brings, because I can hear it snowing really hard right now.
I think it's time to get up.
What a beautiful campsite. This right here is Prince William Sound, one of the most gorgeous parts of Alaska. They get something like 200 inches of rain every year here. This is one of my favorite places in Alaska. But this storm is getting worse. I think I better get my snowshoes on and get out of here.
The storm continues as he makes his way out. When Luke finally reaches the car, he finds it surrounded by snow. The road ahead is also covered, making the drive home another challenge.
I'm almost to the car. Hopefully I can get it out of the snowdrift. Well, there you go. That's not too buried. I can get that out.
Along the way, Luke stops to help another stranded driver. But after that, he still has to deal with several deep snowdrifts blocking his own route. At one difficult section, he uses a small red shovel as a marker. He places it farther ahead in the snow, then uses it as a target to guide the vehicle along the safe path.
Oh, that was some sketchy stuff. There was just the smallest window through that snowdrift. I put my red shovel in the snow, and I'd use that as a target to aim for the path. And if you got off 6 inches to either side, you were done. But by doing that, me and everybody that was behind me was able to get through the snowdrift.
And heavy snow visibility can become so poor that the road, ground, and horizon are difficult to tell apart. A clearly visible object can give a person a reference point when normal landmarks are hidden. Luke continues moving forward, carefully clearing snow and finding the route little by little. Eventually, he makes it back safely, cold and exhausted after the difficult trip. There was no mystery about what threatened him that day. The storm alone was enough to leave someone trapped far from help. Do you think experience saved Luke here? Or was the most important decision simply knowing when it was time to leave? On January 18th, 2026, the Rock and Roll Rambler uploaded footage of a winter camping trip on Slieve Millmore. The video follows two campers heading up for an overnight stay near the Mourne Wall, where strong winds are expected.
Okay, so we've got the Millmore. This is where we plan to camp for the night. I'm going to try and put the tents up here. The ground is rock solid, so could have issues getting pegs in. We really want to make sure the tent's secured. Guy ropes up. Probably need to put rocks on top of the pegs just to make sure they don't come out. So we're going to give that a go now, try and get the tent up.
Before dark, they set up their tents. The ground is frozen solid, making it hard to drive the pegs in. To secure the shelters, they use guy lines, pegs, and rocks. By around 10 p.m., the weather has become much worse. After spending time inside the stone shelter, the campers return to their tents. The wind is stronger, snow is falling, and the cold is harder to handle.
We have just got back into the tents. We're in the wee stone hut all night with fire logs going. It was nice, cozy, lovely and toasty. The weather outside just got worse and worse. It's about 10 p.m. and the wind has barely picked up. Crazy, and the snow, and it's cold. It's looking like we're in for a rough night.
Even then, they believe leaving the mountain in darkness could be just as risky as staying. Then the situation changes. One camper feels his tent collapsing on top of him.
Oh, the tent's in on top of me. Something's come out.
When he checks outside, he finds that one tent pole has snapped. With the pole broken, the tent cannot stay upright as the wind keeps building.
John, my pole snapped.
No way.
Aye.
Pole snap.
It's tent's in on top of me like.
No way.
Aye.
Wet, freezing, and without safe shelter, the campers decide to leave.
That's it. wrong with the bag too.
Having to bail, everyone's safety, it's unbelievable here. Just cannot stay in that tent. I'm freezing, soaked.
From that moment, the goal is no longer to finish the camp. They only want to get off the mountain before conditions worsen. After the camera stops recording, the descent becomes the most dangerous part of the trip. In darkness, heavy rain and gale force winds, they lose the path. One headlamp fails, and gusts are strong enough to knock them off their feet.
In pitch black, darkness, and gale force winds, which were only getting worse at this point, the driving rain affecting your vision, it's so easy to lose that path.
Strong winds can make walking exhausting because the body must keep adjusting to stay balanced. Even simple movement can use more energy than usual. At one point, the campers move downhill on hands and knees through mud puddles and running water. They consider calling mountain rescue before finding the path again and continuing down.
But that wasn't the end of our troubles. The wind just seemed to be getting stronger and stronger. My legs were sore because, well, every muscle of my body seemed to be sore because you could almost hear the gusts coming. So you had to brace yourself and you sort of got yourself down into a squat position.
Reaching the main track does not end the journey. They must cross 3 fast-moving rivers before continuing toward Mealmore Lodge. By the time they see the stile near the lodge, one camper says his legs are finished. He is not sure how much farther he could have gone. Looking back, he says the broken tent pole was the only major piece of equipment that failed, while the rest of their gear helped them through the night. The broken pole forced them to leave, but the descent may have been even more dangerous than the failed camp. Do you think they made the right choice by leaving immediately? A Halloween road trip with friends was supposed to be fun, but one van problem on a foggy mountain road quickly turned the morning into a dangerous roadside emergency. The next video comes from Trent the Traveler, a channel focused on van life, road trips, and outdoor adventures. The footage was uploaded on October 19th, 2025, and follows Trent as he begins a Halloween road trip with Christian and Brandon along the Blue Ridge Parkway. After a mountain hike, Trent notices that his van is sputtering and the engine light is flashing.
Did you hear that? My van's sputtering. Engine light is blinking. Vehicle sputtering.
It is the first clear sign that something may be seriously wrong with the vehicle he uses for both travel and daily living. By the next morning, the situation becomes much more serious. The van stops in the middle of the road near a blind curve.
It is about 7 a.m. here on the Blue Ridge Parkway. We are in a bit of a predicament. It is a very, very foggy morning. You can't see anything. As you can tell, people are driving very slow, having to wave people to warn them on this blind curve because my van is sitting in the middle of the road right now. And I have to turn my light on to, increase the vision of my van because people were just flying around the curve and not seeing it. But the reason it's here in the middle of the road, it's broken down. It finally happened.
Heavy fog makes it difficult for approaching drivers to see what is ahead. Trent, Brandon, and Christian stand beside the road and warn approaching vehicles while trying to keep the situation from becoming even more dangerous. Fog can make a blind curve especially risky because drivers may not see a stopped vehicle until they are already close to it. With the less visibility, they also have less time to slow down or safely move around an obstacle. Nearby construction workers soon step in to help. Together, they push the van back into the overlook.
You ready to give it a go?
Yeah, just break the wheel up.
Okay. We'll put it in neutral.
Break the wheel up.
Oh, it's working.
There we go.
Woo! Awesome.
That's a lot better than
Thank you guys so much. Probably saved some lives today.
Yeah, definitely helped.
Wow.
Hey.
Millie, stay. Thank goodness. What's that?
You're just cruising through?
Just cruising through, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a much bigger overlook with a better turn radius right down the road.
Good to know.
Thanks. Y'all enjoy your trip.
Thank you.
And move it out of the traffic lane before it creates a larger risk. A tow truck arrives soon afterward. Trent watches as his van is taken away to a mechanic, but the problem is still far from solved. For Trent, this is more than a normal vehicle breakdown, because the van is also where he lives.
Off to the mechanic. Freaking sucks, but it is what it is. All right, so the next plan is to go down there to the mechanic. We're gonna meet them there and see if this place can even work on the van, because I can't even call them right now. They're not open, so we're just gonna get it dropped off there. I'm gonna go up there, talk to him, and see what's next. It might be in the shop for a week, could be 3 weeks, could be done tomorrow. And then the added layer of the fact that this is the vehicle that I live in, you know, it's very complicated.
He does not know whether repairs will take 1 day, 1 week, or even longer, making the situation much more difficult to plan around. Instead of ending the day feeling defeated, the group changes its plans and heads to Woods of Terror, a haunted attraction in Greensboro.
Well, guys, even though plans have changed, the adventure is not over yet in Christian's van, and we are headed to go to a haunted house. It's North Carolina's #1 haunted house in the entire state. It's called Woods of Terror here in Greensboro. We figured we'd end today's adventure off with a bang. We're going to get spooktacular, and it's going to be a really fun night, especially after dealing with the whole van situation. I think we need this.
After the stress of the breakdown, they decide that a spooky night out is the best way to keep their Halloween trip moving. Inside the attraction, the group walks through dark sets, horror movie style scenes, and areas filled with scare actors based on classic slasher characters.
I don't know, is this the beginning? Come on! Oh! What the freak? Is this... We're beginning, okay, just like that. This is cool looking.
This ambience is sick.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in a creep show episode.
Whoa! I think that guy's not dead yet.
Oh, don't worry about that. She needs more seasoning.
Okay. I officially cannot see anything. Do I go this way? What the freak? Where did everybody go? There was people in front of me. Now there's not.
It's way too quiet.
It's way too quiet. What the freak is that? Woo!
What is it?
What is it?
That was the spookiest little goblin I've ever seen in my life.
The night does not solve the problem with the van, but it changes the mood of the trip. What began as a stressful roadside emergency becomes a strange and memorable start to their Halloween adventure. A breakdown can change an entire trip, especially when the vehicle is also your home. Do you think Trent was right to continue the adventure, or would you have stopped everything until the van was repaired? The next video comes from Bella Clark, a US-based outdoor adventure creator, known for realistic solo hiking, winter camping attempts, and off-grid exploration. On December 22nd, 2025 in rural Virginia.
Very bumpy road. More private property. Ooh, a big bird. Oh, there's a bald eagle. You're definitely not gonna be able to see it on the camera, but I promise there was one. Big puddle. Oh, I don't know if you can see that, but there is a Confederate flag on that tree. Feels so safe here. Okay, the person on the app that I don't trust already was lying. I've not seen a single campsite, so, you know, there's that. But look for the silver lining. Freaking crossing, and this one's like frozen over, kind of. I'm gonna have to do all of this again when I turn around, by the way. Oh, God. Okay. And a huge mud puddle up here, of course. If I knew for a fact that there were campsites up ahead, you know, but just the fact that I don't know where I'm going and I don't know if there are any campsites, it's just like, what if I'm doing this for literally no reason? Well, would you believe it? Another little creek crossing. This road keeps going for a while though, so I'm hoping it just turns in to dispersed camping areas. Another creek crossing, by the way. So, let's knock this out real quick.
She arrives at a trailhead later than expected and starts searching for a primitive campsite before dark, only to realize there may be nowhere ahead to stop or safely turn around. Using an off-road navigation app, she follows narrow snow-covered back roads bordered by private property signs along the route. Creek crossings, deep mud, and rocky terrain slow her progress, raising doubts about vehicle safety and whether a campsite is actually accessible.
Oh my god. Well, that did not sound good, did it? There's a really big rock in the stream that I did not see. And I don't see anything leaking or dangling. Okay. I'm getting a little frustrated, I'm not gonna lie. That was not fun. I think this is my sign to turn around.
Tension grows when her vehicle hits a hidden rock during a crossing and scrapes underneath. After checking and seeing no visible damage, the incident shows how quickly winter conditions and unfamiliar terrain can become dangerous.
That was quite humbling, I'm not gonna lie. Change of plans. No camping tonight, unfortunately. I just can't find anywhere. If anybody knows any primitive campsites, please let me know, because I don't know why these aren't more accessible.
Repeated failures to find a campsite combined with fading daylight turned frustration into caution and led her to abandon the overnight plan.
Come on, I got you. Good job. Man, that sun's starting to go down and it is getting cold. Wow, it's so pretty though. You got it. Oh, good job. Good job. Okay, this was the first part. I had to carry her up, but I think she's a little more confident going down. You know, she could easily just fall right down there, and that wouldn't be good. Let's jump down right here. Just right here. It's right here. Yeah. Wow, good job. Look at you. Wow.
The hike becomes the main challenge as she moves through steep rocky sections, while carrying her small dog with snow ice and loose stones creating constant slipping hazards.
Quiet. It's getting dark. It's a little spooky. Better get back to the car. We have about 1.7 miles left, and Rixie's booty, and it's just not holding, and they keep, that one specifically just keep falling off. We have less than a mile. It's kind of getting dark, but I'm hoping I won't have to stop and get my headlamp out. Booty's officially off. I think I'm gonna have to bust out the headlamp here. Okay, that's much, much better. My God.
As darkness settles in, she finishes the final 1.7 miles with a headlamp, while isolation and falling temperatures make the experience even more intense. Back at the car, she warms up and reflects on the trip, stressing the importance of confirming campsite access before winter travel. The experience shows how dependence on app seasonal access restrictions and private land can quickly change plans. And in a silent forest with no signal and movement in the distance, the question remains, would you stay or leave without looking back? The final video tonight comes from outside the doorstep and was uploaded on March 17th, 2021. The late winter ice looks solid at first, but within seconds, 2 vehicles break through the surface and sink into the water below. The incident was not caused by high speed or careless driving. Instead, it happened because late season ice can weaken without giving any clear warning before suddenly collapsing. The ice fishing trip took place during one of the most dangerous periods of the season, when the surface may appear stable while losing strength underneath. Fortunately, everyone escaped safely and no injuries were reported, but recovering the vehicles became a serious challenge. What seemed manageable from a distance quickly turned dangerous once the rescue crew stepped onto the ice. The surface continued cracking, forcing the crew to move with extreme care while spreading out and maintaining distance from one another. Staying in one spot for too long was unsafe because the ice around them kept shifting and changing under their weight.
After many futile attempts, this happened. He is trying to recover this quad bike. That didn't work, and both vehicles got up. The only factor that determines whether it is still very thick. But it's been warm for some time, and now
Anyone familiar with ice fishing understands how quickly that feeling can change. Once water begins pushing through the surface, every step and every movement has to be reconsidered carefully. Incidents like this show that danger does not always look dramatic before something goes wrong. Sometimes the surroundings remain calm until the exact moment the situation changes. If you were standing on that ice and saw small cracks beginning to... That's it for tonight. Which moment creep? Drop it in the comments. Have your own story. Share it with us and stay tuned. The next one is even darker.